To Philippine lawmakers today, the first Japanese leader to do so. Mr. Kishida met with Philippine President Marcos Jr. yesterday for a wide-ranging talk on trade and security. CNA's Berna Bernal has more.
Cooperation instead of division and confrontation. This was the value underscored by Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in his historic speech before a joint session of Philippine Congress. He said international cooperation is necessary for peace and stability and is important in order to maintain and strengthen a rules-based international order. A security concern shared between Japan and the Philippines is what is perceived as the growing maritime aggression of China in the East China Sea for Japan and in the South China Sea for the Philippines.
Let us protect the maritime order, which is governed by laws and rules, not by force.
Mr. Kishida also outlined assistance Japan has extended to the Philippines. Japan is supporting the Philippines' first ever subway system, which Mr. Kishida called a 50-year dream. Japan is also supporting development projects and the peace process in the Muslim-majority autonomous region of Bangsamoro in southern Philippines. Mr. Kishida also cited the Philippine Coast Guard ships built in Japan, which comprises almost half of the primary fleet or capital ships of the Philippine Coast Guard. But beyond being a top donor for the Philippines, Japan has also chosen the Philippines to be the first ever recipient of a grant from its new security assistance program.
Japan agreed with the Philippines to provide coastal surveillance radars to the Philippines Navy as the first cooperation project in the world under Japan's newly established official security assistance.
In referring to the Philippines and Japan, Mr. Kishida called the two countries equal partners. But critics have slammed the planned reciprocal access agreement between the two countries, which will allow for a smoother movement of defense personnel. Critics say such an agreement puts the Philippines at a disadvantage given its need for military hardware and the economic might of the other state party involved. But proponents say such an agreement that would allow the entry and exit of military personnel from both countries for purposes of training and relief operations will serve as a deterrent for possible surge of tensions with China in the South China Sea. Mr. Kishida is among a few world leaders to have ever addressed Philippine Congress, a list which includes Pakistan's former President Pervez Musharraf, China's former President Hu Jintao, and two U.S. former presidents Dwight Eisenhower and George W. Bush. Buena Bernal, CNA, Makati in Metro Manila.
To the Middle East.